Always start out with a clear and empty weapon, meaning no ammunition. But of course, I'm going to double check. To do that, locate the magazine release levers. There's one on each side. Pull one of the levers down and release the magazine. Locate the slide stop lever and push it upward with your thumb and keep holding it up. As you hold it up, pull the slide back and the slide will lock in place. Now take a careful look into the chamber and make sure it's empty. There's no brass. So we're good to go. We're 100% clear and safe. Locate the takedown lever. That's it right there. Rotate the takedown lever downward to about the 6 o'clock position. Pull the slide lock lever downward and just guide the slide off of the frame. This is a recoil spring assembly. Just going to call it the recoil spring for short for the rest of this video. Anyways, compress it from chamber into muzzle end. It'll pop right out. Now push on the hood of the chamber and remove the barrel. And this is as far as you need to go for basic maintenance and cleaning. You have the frame, the barrel, the recoil spring assembly, the slide, and the magazine. That's it. So let's get started with the cleaning. Attach a 9mm size bronze bore brush to the cleaning rod and make sure it's for 9mm. If it says 38, that's okay. It's the same diameter. When you attach the bore brush, you want to make sure that the base of the brush matches up cleanly with the cleaning rod. If there's a step or a ledge, the edge is going to drag down on the inside of your barrel every time you push it through. Now, the inside of your barrel is hardened steel. I know that, and you're not going to destroy it overnight or anything like that, but over time, especially with repeated cleaning, that unnecessary contact can cause wear or micro scratching. And here's the reality. There's zero benefit to taking that risk. A properly fitted brush and rod give you a smooth centered contact through the bore. That's what you want. And you probably noticed, but I only push the bore brush through in one direction, from chamber end to muzzle end. I don't push the bore brush through and pull it right back in. That doesn't make any sense to push the dirt out and pull it back in again. It's kind of like when you're sweeping the floor. You don't just sweep back and forth, do you? No, you just make a mess. Now attach a 9mm size jag to the cleaning rod. Take a cleaning patch. Add a little CLP. Wrap it around the jag. And just like I did with the bore brush, I'm only going to push the jag through in one direction, from chamber end to muzzle end. So just continue to push patches through until they start to come out clean. Once in a while, add some more CLP to a clean patch and just repeat the process. There's no specific number on how many patches you need to run through the bore. And I didn't mention it earlier, but the same thing goes for the bore brush. It really just depends on how much you've been shooting and how dirty it is. In this case, I'm just going to push about 4 or 5 patches through, and that should be good. Add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing all surfaces of this barrel. That includes the feed ramp, chamber, the lug, the hood, everything. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to refer to this entire piece as the barrel. I want to make sure this feed ramp is extra clean, so I'm going to give it special attention. I want to make sure the ammunition can feed smoothly into this chamber. Now that I've loosened up all the dirt, I'm going to wipe off any excess CLP with this microfiber gun cleaning rag. And by the way, I'll leave links to all the equipment that I use in this video in the comments below, as well as in the description. Right now, the least expensive place to get these items is going to be on Amazon, but if that ever changes in the future, I'll be sure to update the links. Yeah, this feed ramp looks really good. So far, I've cleaned this barrel with CLP, got all the loose dirt and grime, carbon, and all that stuff off of it, wiped it off, but I don't want to leave the barrel completely dry. And yes, you can get away with cleaning with only CLP because CLP is cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. You can use that throughout the entire cleaning process with no gun oil if you want to. CLP is just fine. It's been done that way for years and years. If you're going to use CLP only, after you wiped off the CLP, got off all the dirt and grime, carbon, and all that stuff, Just go over it with another light coating of CLP throughout the entire surface of the barrel. You just don't want to leave it completely dry. But today I'm going to take the extra step and use gun oil. So I'm going to add a few drops of gun oil to a cleaning patch and just go over the entire surface. I should say the outer surface. You want the inside of the barrel to be dry, so you can leave the feed ramp and the bore dry. I would only add a very light coat of CLP or gun oil to the inside of the bore if like I was putting it in storage for a long time, but this gun will actually be carried and used once in a while, so I want to make sure the inside of the barrel is dry. So when I say bore, I'm talking about the inside of the barrel. Now for the bore snake. Just take a look at the end of the string. There's going to be a brass weight, and it's going to have a number. It should say 38 or 9 millimeter. In this case, it says 38, so that's going to be the correct size. So take the weighted end, drop the weight into the chamber, and pull it out through the muzzle. I'm just going to do it one more time, just to be thorough. I'm going to drop the weighted end, chamber in, pull it out the muzzle end. It's as simple as that. Now it's kind of hard to see the inside of the barrel. The camera really doesn't do it justice, but I'm telling you, that looks better than it did when it was brand new. It's perfectly clean. It looks like black, shiny glass. There's not even a speck of dust or lint inside. That's why I use a bore snake every time. I don't skip this step ever. Just remember that sharp, clean rifling that you see inside here, that contributes to accuracy. Now I'm going to get started on the slide, and you don't really have to do these parts in any particular order. This is just the order I chose to do it today. Just add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing all surfaces. There's a couple of spots inside the slide, which I'll show you in a minute, where you want to make sure you do not leak CLP or gun oil into. I like to use a nylon brush that's specific for gun cleaning because it has this small skinny end that gets into hard to reach spaces. When you're cleaning a handgun like the VP9, you've got a lot of tight detailed areas like the slide rails, around the extractor, which I'll show you here in a minute, the inside corners of the frame, trigger components, and small little crevices. The large end of the brush is great for general cleaning, but it's too bulky for the precision work. The smaller end lets you get in there without overdoing it. The small brush gives you control. Instead of scrubbing everything aggressively, you can target exactly where the carbon buildup is without spreading debris around or forcing grime deeper into the gun. It also helps you to avoid hitting areas you don't really need to be scrubbing hard in the first place. And here's one of those areas I told you want to avoid. That's the striker channel. You don't want to leak CLP or gun oil into that. It could slow the striker down over time. And the breech face. You don't want to leak CLP or gun oil into that little hole right there that the firearm pin comes out of. If you get a little in there by accident, it's probably not a big deal. I just would try to avoid doing it all the time because over time, that CLP or gun oil is going to get old. It's going to collect gunk and it may slow down the striker. And if that happens, you start getting light primer strikes. And then you got to take out the striker, clean the whole channel out. So it's just best to avoid it and keep it dry. Another area I always pay special attention to is the rail channels inside the slide. These rails are what guide the slide back and forth on the frame. Every time you fire around, this is where all the movement's happening. So if there's carbon buildup, dirt, or dried up oil in these rail channels, you're adding resistance where you don't want it. It's a friction point, so these rails are one of the main contact points between the slide and the frame. Metal is riding metal here, so any debris in those channels is basically acting like sand in the system. That can slow down the slide and change how it cycles over time, and that'll lead to unnecessary wear. What you want is a slide that moves freely and consistently every time. The way the slide reciprocates onto the frame affects the feeding of the next round, extracting and ejecting the spent casing, and the overall reliability of the firearm. If the slide isn't cycling the way it's supposed to, you're increasing the chances of malfunctions. Another area I pay close attention to is right behind the extractor. That's where carbon, brass shavings, and debris tend to build up, especially after a lot of rounds. If that buildup gets bad enough, it can start affecting how the extractor grabs and pulls casings out. This is where the small end of the nylon brush really comes in handy. It lets you get behind the extractor to break up that buildup without forcing anything. You're not trying to dig or pry, you're just loosening up debris so it can be wiped away easily. Just remember to use a minimal amount of CLP when you're around the breech face area. Now that I've loosened up all the carbon and debris with CLP and the nylon brush, I'm going to go back and wipe off all the excess CLP. CLP is great for breaking up fouling, but if you leave too much and leave it behind, it starts working against you. Excess oil or CLP will attract dirt and debris, hold on to carbon residue, and build up into a sticky mess over time. So instead of helping your firearm, it actually makes it dirtier faster sometimes. So a good rule of thumb is a medium coat of CLP or gun oil on all the high friction areas, anything that shows signs of metal on metal wear, and a very light coat of CLP on all the other metal surfaces. And if you want to, you can leave the outside of the slide, like where you grab onto to chamber around, completely dry. Some people add a little bit of CLP just to, I guess, as a protectant, and that's fine. But if you think your fingers are going to slip off it, then it's fine to keep it dry. Just as long as you're cleaning it on a regular basis, you're fine. You're not going to get any rust. You're not very likely to, unless you're just in a very humid environment and you don't do any maintenance on your firearm. Okay, I've left just a very light coating of CLP all over the slide. That's how I like it. I don't have a problem gripping the slide serrations at all when I'm chambering around, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now I'm going to go and add CLP to one of these angled cotton swabs. I don't use regular cotton swabs like you would clean your ear with. These are for gun cleaning. That angled tip allows you to get in between the rails in some smaller areas really easily. So add CLP to the cotton swab, run it through the rails. You'll see that it comes out dirty at first. Just keep repeating the process until these cotton swabs start to come out clean. And once again, I'll leave links to all these items in the video description as well as in the comments below, so you don't have to search for anything, just click the link. If you just want to use CLP only in the rail channels, that's perfectly fine. I just want to take an extra step and use a dedicated gun lube inside these rails to make it extra slick. I'm also going to add a little gun oil to anything that shows signs of metal on metal wear. I got a little oil on my gloves and I transferred it to the slide, so I'm just wiping that off and we're good to go now. Now for the frame. Add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing all surfaces inside and out. Just like I made sure the rail channels on the slide were very clean, I'm going to do the same thing to the rails on the frame. I'm going to use CLP in the nylon brush to loosen up all the carbon and dirt. Then I'm going to use the microfiber gun cleaning rag and wipe it all down. Then I'll go back and add a medium coat of lube to the high friction areas and anything that shows signs of metal on metal wear. So maybe you're wondering if I'm going to add CLP to the grip area. You might be afraid it's going to be slippery. The answer is yes, I'm going to add CLP to it and clean it really well, but no, it's not going to be slippery. I'm going to make sure that grip area is completely dry. You can skip the grip area completely if you like, as long as you don't mind getting lead and carbon contaminants all over your hand every time you pick up your gun. The easiest way to get all the CLP off of the grip is just wrap the rag around it and squeeze. Squeeze hard to make sure you soak up all the CLP that's in the stippling. Be sure to clean the area in front of the trigger and behind it. A lot of lint gets stuck back there, especially if you carry inside the waistband. Right now, I'm just making sure I soak up all the excess CLP. I almost forgot to clean the inside of the magazine well, so I just added CLP to the nylon brush and I'm taking care of that. To remove the excess CLP from the magazine well, I just wrap the rag around the nylon brush and use that to get inside there. Now that I've removed all the excess CLP inside and out, I'm going to add some gun lube to a cotton swab and go back and lubricate the high friction areas. I'm going to add a medium coat of lube to the rails and anything else that shows signs of metal on metal wear, and a light coat of lube to anything else metal. And just a reminder, if you don't have gun oil, CLP will work for this. You can use CLP to clean. Once you wipe off all the dirty CLP, you can use it to lubricate. And that's just about perfect. It didn't even come from the factory that clean, so I'm happy with this. Now for the recoil spring. This is just about the easiest part of the whole process. Just add CLP to the nylon brush, scrub in between the coils, wipe off any excess CLP, and you're done. Now for the magazine. This is also a very easy part to clean. You don't need to disassemble the magazine every time you clean it, but if you do, it's easy. Just press that button at the bottom of the base plate. The base plate's going to slide off. The spring and follower will come out. Clean inside the magazine. Wipe off any excess CLP and put it back together the same way you took it apart. Try not to leak CLP down into these witness holes here or down into the follower, so go very light on your cleaning fluid. If I drop the magazine in dirt, mud, sand, or something like that, then yeah, I would break down the magazine and do a full clean, because debris inside the magazine can absolutely affect feeding. But for the normal cleaning routine, basic maintenance, I just keep it simple. Wipe it down, use a little CLP to break down any dirt or anything like that, then wipe it completely dry. That's it. And I don't lubricate it. Magazines don't need lubrication. If you leave oil inside the magazine or even outside it, it attracts dirt and debris, and it could gum up the spring and follower, and it could actually cause feeding issues. So instead of helping reliability, it could hurt it. So the bottom line is, don't overcomplicate it. Don't disassemble it all the time. Just keep it clean and dry. Now let's reassemble. Place the barrel back into the slide. So this is the end that goes towards the muzzle. It's going to look like that. That's the part that goes towards the chamber end. So insert that piece into the muzzle end first, compress the spring, and make sure it clicks into this part of the barrel lug. There's a little slot cut out on the barrel lug for the spring, and it should look just like that when it's installed. This is another part that's kind of hard to get incorrect on the VP9. Everything fits together almost perfect. Not almost, I think it is perfect pretty much. So just align the slide rails on the frame with the slide channels on the slide. And just guide the slide back on. Now look for the slide stop lever. Push it upward and hold it up as you're pulling the slide back. And it's going to lock the slide in place. Now rotate the takedown lever back to its original position, just like that. Now pull the slide lever down and release the slide. We're not going to stop there. Let's do a function check. To do that, pull the trigger, but don't release it. You're going to hear a click. Keep holding the trigger. As you're holding the trigger, work the slide. Now release the trigger. You should hear and feel a click. Pull it again. You'll hear it click. We're good so far, but let's make sure it locks back on an empty mag. So insert the mag and pull the slide. It should lock back on its own. If it does, everything's good. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you need any of the cleaning supplies that I've shown in this video, the links are in the description as well as in the comment section. Thanks for watching.